balance all of this in one. And besides discipline, a lot of skills are required here. So people who, for example, travel with their family.
And while being in their quarters, they need to understand that first of all, you have to plan your schedule so that the passages, yes, they are tough, they physically strain the body, combined with rest. And after each passage, you need to give yourself at least a day to recover, and then you can get back to work. So if you work online, it's the perfect way to maintain your travels. If you have children with you, for example, we have small children. Infants, they don't require much time, but when they start to grow up, they already need attention. Accordingly, if we have some kind of passage somewhere, then children always sleep in the passages. And when we arrive at a new place, the challenge with having kids is that they wake up and we are already tired and they want to play or go ashore. If it's a family crew, we often split up, with one person resting or working while the other takes care of the kids. And it constantly happens that we kind of pass the responsibility back and forth between each other. If it's a family crew, we often split up, with one person resting or working while the other takes care of the kids. And we constantly find ourselves passing the responsibility back and forth between each other. One person is working while the other is taking care of various family matters. If, for example, the crew is family-based, there are actually a lot of family crews, and in such crews there are usually 2 or 3 children, but rarely 61, because on long distances it's more convenient when the kids play together. They don't take their parents, they stick together. It's a kids' crew. When families with children meet on yacht, kids move between them, allowing parents to work. This mutual help among crews frees you from supervising the kids. Additionally, there are kids clubs where they can engage in activities while you handle your matters. So this is like a direct help among crews in their ports and at their distances. And it really helps free you up from having to spend time directly sitting with the kids. Then, for example, there are always kids clubs, some municipal additional clubs for children, where you can send kids of various ages. They will be there engaging in activities, developing and socializing while you take care of your own matters. And it's really great to be able to condition that. I think a huge plus of traveling as a family on a yacht is that we are together 24 hours a day. We are together going through tequila. We're not just a family anymore, we're like a team. And kids learn to interact as a team and take responsibility from a very young age, to listen to adults, to understand what can be done and what can't. They grow up much faster, they grasp things quicker, and physically they are stronger. So even if I compare my kids who are currently in school, I see that they are much higher in terms of knowledge than kids their age, and physically they are stronger and more resilient.
Fire. I'm sorry, but I might perhaps throw in a few questions that I didn't plan on asking, but as the conversation goes on, they unexpectedly become really interesting. Or so, there's this thing where, for example, life on a yacht, especially with family, changes, how can I put it, the relationships, say, with the opposite sex or with the kids. So there isn't, let's say, well, let me put it in my own words, the relationships between a man and a woman are usually, first of all, romantic, and then everything else follows. And with kids, it's, of course, family-based. So, does this whole yachting thing interfere with those relationships? Does it change them into something more, formal, where instead of maintaining regular relationships, you start seeing each other more as, like, these are my assistants and so on? I would even say the opposite.
On the contrary, it strengthens and toughens the family because you go through the elements together, through challenges, through bad weather, through norms, and through hardships. Sometimes, for example, people are traveling and suddenly their bank card gets blocked. So you need to find the situation on the spot, find food, find some internet. For example, we had a situation when we were in Ibiza and our card got blocked. So naturally we wanted to eat, but there was nothing to eat. What are we doing? We're diving there, catching octopuses, and we already have a beautiful Mediterranean platter with octopuses right in front of us. And I would say that from a family perspective, traveling on yachts is the perfect way to strengthen the family and really test that we're not just meeting in the evening, sleeping together, and having some romance, but we are actually living together, experiencing active moments. We dive into each other's psyche much deeper and get to know each other better. For example, when we have a transition. So when we say we work as a team, what does that mean? It means that if we have a personal conflict, we don't work through that situation while we're at sea, because it's important for us to function as a team, and we don't want to get distracted by any additional arguments. So we put all of that aside until we reach our destination on land. And if it's really important, we can discuss it later. But most of the time, all of this is usually forgotten because it's just small stuff. So it turns out that a Family crews that have weathered the trials of the sea and haven't fallen apart are really very strong. And these stories that run through life really bring the family together and make it a true team. For me, family is truly a team. When people act together, move in the same direction, support each other, one struggles and the other helps. It's really a team, and at sea this shows itself very openly.
Awesome. And from what you said, you mentioned the word romance, not to lose or romance.
Romance. Romance, I would say, is always present at sea. And sometimes in the morning I wake up and see that I have beautiful sea reflections from the sun on the ceiling, such lovely patterns on the ceiling. In the morning I woke up, jumped out of bed, dove in at the anchorage and got refreshed. We refreshed ourselves together, went and had some coffee. So that's romance, it's just that we have it all the time. In the evening we sit on the deck and look at the stars. When a storm comes, I love storms at sea. We all sit together and watch the storm. When we sit with the kids, we also tell them about different aspects of nature at the same time. They constantly immerse us in the information field. We always explain how everything is set up, how it works. They really enjoy it. From the perspective of romance, it turns out that if we take a couple, we are together in different beautiful places. And each of us sees this place in our own way, but we go through all of it together. I feel like the romance here is just endless and has some deep quality to it.
Awesome, awesome. Sometimes, I even listen so much that I completely forget that I have questions here and I need to remember something.
Can I add something else? I'll add that we, for example, my husband and I with Vasily, by the way, learned from Bulgaria. When I came to him for an interview, I said, please tell me how to say hello, how are you in Bulgarian? And he said something like, how are you? Or something like that. It's about how we all take care of our health. Yeah, exactly. We looked it up on the internet to make sure we wouldn't get it wrong. So when we go with him and have some passages, we try to schedule them at night so that the kids can sleep, and that way we don't get distracted by them. And these night passages, it's such a funny romance. We go along and chat about things. First of all, there's no internet and no one lives here. Secondly, the elements around us are beautiful, the stars. They have a lot of time just to themselves, to their thoughts, to tell someone a story. There are always some new plans. Then when we arrive, we have this tradition where we drink tea and brew something tasty. And we discuss the whole passage. How did it all go? Some memories. We have these absolutely hilarious passages that we just can't stop laughing about for half the night.
Next question. Can you just briefly describe a typical day in your life, maybe today? What does it consist of in detail? So you woke up there in the morning. What was happening?
We wake up in the morning on the yacht. I love to wake up and take a walk now along the fort, along the deck, because the fort in the morning is a wonderful time when it's very quiet, the water is smooth, and there's no one around. It's just an idyll. So when you live on the water, there are no city noises, and I really like that. There's no noise from cars, no sirens, so on. It's absolutely idyllic here. Then after the walks, I definitely do some sports. I really enjoy it. Then it's a work day dedicated to diving into my job. I work with yachts. My entire income comes from taking people out to sea and helping them transfer onto the yacht. That's why I happily do my job. I really enjoy telling people about it and helping them achieve their dreams. Then, since Vitya is starting school, we spend time with them during the day, and in the evening we meet up. In the morning there won't be any gatherings because we're going somewhere to relax. Well, in the evening, if we have time, I hang out with friends who also live on yachts. We have a lot of friends in the port that we hang out with. From different countries, they speak different languages, and from time to time we cross paths, have some meetings, and then the evening is like a standard family evening, dinner, watching something, and going to bed. But if we're talking about a day on the water, it's completely different because it definitely includes swimming, going ashore, and getting into that little boat. We either paddle or swim. We get off the shore, take a walk, find ourselves a nice walking route. We love to explore different places, so we're always looking for interesting spots to go to see if there's a nice view, and then we head there. It could be some kind of sport or diving. We really love diving, or just relaxing, reading, enjoying books, or spending time with the kids. In general, the days are quite busy, but nevertheless they are very relaxing. The most important thing about this lifestyle is that you don't have to stick to a specific schedule. You can feel your inner rhythm and completely adjust your reality to fit yourself.
Fire. How much time do you spend at sea and how much time accordingly in the marina? If we're just talking about the percentage ratio, maybe over the course of a month or a week.
Time at sea. Actually, there are different periods. The longest period we didn't go out to sea but lived at anchor, moving from place to place, was a year and a half. It was a trip around Mallorca, the Balearic Islands, and we decided to visit here for 2 weeks, but then we really liked it, so we thought, why not stay longer? Let's stay here for a while. And that's why we spent the winter at anchor and traveled around the island as well, visiting different anchorages. And basically, you travel through anchorages, it's really hard to go back to the marina because being at anchor gives you a lot of freedom. When you arrive at a new place, a new bay, there's no one around. You woke up in solitude, fell asleep, and there was no one there either. It's the perfect place for someone who loves to spend time by themselves. But if you, for example, go into the marina, then leaving the marina later will also be very difficult because each marina has its own quirks. And there are always very nice people there. Saying goodbye to them, just like with the members of Chingy, so every departure from the marina is a big, big event. It might seem like it's planned for the day after tomorrow, but in reality, you need another week to gather everything, pack your boat, and say goodbye to everyone. So it turns out that the sky is split 50-50. There can be long periods of anchoring at the fountain, long periods of traveling at anchor. So if we're talking about the countries of the Mediterranean, then here, most likely, you'll find marinas because there are a lot of moorings in the marinas, not so many good and protected anchorages. And if we're talking about traveling around the world, then naturally, you'll be spending time at anchorages in the office of the Time Center.
Very interesting.